I structured this lesson was to make it very open-ended for all the students and inclusive of everyone, so they could show me exactly where they're at in their writing. And for example, with this piece here, we had talked about already strong leads, words that you can choose that will really draw your reader in. So this is where we begin, and I see that she's starting to get it here. And again, with the closing, the same thing. Good night, stars and moon.
In my class, I asked them to observe the moon and approach it as both a scientist and as an artist, whether that be as an artist who paints or draws or sculpts, or a poet. And I had some students who experimented with both styles, but then a majority took one route and grew and continued their journey down that path. And I really see this as a beneficial activity, and it really catered not only to their creativity, but their interest and their strength. And I have one student in my class, and he is our scientist, no doubt about it. And he begins each entry, the date is, the time is, the temperature is, incorporates facts about the moon that he's researched on the internet. And although he has not really experimented with the different art materials in the classroom or touched on poetry, he really understands the features of a nonfiction text in the way his writing is organized. And at the bottom of each of his moon journal entries, he's taken these bottom two lines and created a little box, and he records a visual image of what the moon looked like that evening as an ongoing record. And he is very, very proud of what he has accomplished through the course of this unit.
Yeah, he's making diagrams.
Absolutely.
Like nonfiction, as you would see in a nonfiction text.
Absolutely. And that may be where we go with him next.
Right.
Because nonfiction really is in his interest in both reading and in writing across the curriculum.
Okay. Yeah.
And that's our hook.
Yes. Yeah. Well, build on their curiosities, and I mean, he's proud of what he's doing. So.
Yes. And he deserves to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think you build on a student's curiosity by validating the work that they present to you, that no matter what they bring to the table, no matter what they share, it is important, and it is equally important to what the other students are sharing.
Yeah.
And in each classroom, you're going to have a variety of students with a variety of learning abilities and styles at different levels, and the goal is to create an atmosphere where they feel comfortable to share, and that their work is respected by the other students.
Right. Right. They know that also their questions are valued.
Absolutely.
You know, and that they are free to explore those questions too. So
it's a task that is valuable for all students because they can all be successful participants, and they know that what they are sharing will be welcome.
Right, is valued. And then they build on each other too. So if they've heard something that they really appreciate, then they try it out on their own. And it's the same with the feedback too, that they'll go and try something, you know, that maybe has been suggested to them, or
absolutely.
Yeah, so they're constantly building.
And I think that's why the sharing piece is so important, because through the process of listening to one another and recording the treasured words and phrases, they're picking up little gems that they can include in their own writing.
Right. It's crucial.
And we all know the greatest writers borrow.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing to do.
Yeah, it's crucial for sure. So for example, how she says here, twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder where you are. So she's played with it, she's borrowed it, but she's sort of, in a way, made it her own as well.
That's right. She's used it in a different context and for a different purpose. And it's a very effective start to her writing piece.
Right. So if you look here, you know, she's identified the purpose in the audience. You know, she really drew the class in when she started that way. You know, there was everyone sort of looked at her with that, I recognize that, and then there was like because it was a little different too. So
the familiarity of the text and then the twist. And a reason I think as well that it's such a strong lead is that her voice, although the words may not be completely hers, her voice is coming through the writing.
Even the next line, the world is waiting for you in the moon. You know, that's her voice coming through in her writing.
And she's allowing her voice to create images in the minds of the students who are reading it, which is what we would hope for.
The instruction that has happened so far is we've talked a lot about simile and metaphor, and so creating a picture in the reader's mind. So really paying attention to her audience when she's writing. So I'm thinking next steps might be more on the form.
She has a strong voice. She chooses her words carefully to create the greatest impact possible. I think you're right that form is the next area that she needs to tackle.
Yeah. Because the form will make the writing stronger. The words are strong as they are, but if she could just...
It's again the phrasing.
Right.
And if she is going to play with poetry, she does need to have a stronger understanding of line break.
Maybe the next step would be the form here, where it says, write short text using a variety of forms. You know, and if poetry is where she looks to be heading, then maybe the next thing is forming this into a piece of poetry, working with the line breaks, working with white space. I'd written down here that she's developing a sense of voice in her writing, and she's using simile, and you were saying that next steps could be on the form.
That's right. And in her case particularly, the line breaks, because she has a poetic voice.
Yeah. And that sort of, we could refer her to the rubric here where we talk, in here there's form.
That's right. And it links back to voice and word choice as well, using those treasure words and poetic language. But again, it has to be structured in a certain way to create that impact.
Right. Right. The form is vital. In next steps, one of the ways that we could support that form would be to find a mentor text that she could learn from. Another next step might be to find a mentor text for her that she could learn from, possibly even a classmate who is starting to play with poetry, showing that a little bit more. Absolutely. And using their piece as a mentor text as well.
Absolutely, and also your poem of the week that you talk about in class and you explore the structure will be a great tool for her.
Absolutely.